Hello Orchid friends, welcome back to my channel. Wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day, staying healthy and staying safe. Today we're going to look at one white Phalaenopsis orchid. This one originally was a keiki grown on a flower spike for many years, and eventually the flower spike started to yellow and dried out, so it was time for me to remove it. The mother plant was a white Phalaenopsis I received as a welcome gift when I first moved down to Texas. So it has been 5 years, almost 6. And here it is. This is right after I removed it from the flower spike. And of course, I have to pot it, so I wetted the roots. I essentially sprayed the roots down with water. After a while, they turn green, so I slowly, carefully put them into the container. And then I filled the container up with a mixture of my manto clay and hydrocorn. The ratio is roughly about 1:1, and here's what it looked like after the repot. And just like many of my other orchids, I use blue cup as the outer decorative pot, but it's really to block sunlight, so that way there's likely less algae forming inside of it. And after the repot, this orchid just really took off. It started to grow so many roots inside the medium, but then also outside above the medium. So I actually had to try to train the roots to grow into it. So I kind of have to do a little bit of manual effort there. But it all worked out really well because this orchid just kept growing and growing and growing. It did try to put out a spike and one bud at some point, but then it never really came to fruition. But this time around, it's a total different story. One spike with 5 buds, and later you'll see it all opened. All the buds open, no bud blast. Everything went really well. So when it comes to keikis, I know a lot of you, if you're new to the orchid hobby, you may find getting a keiki is like an extra plant and you're so thrilled about it. I mean, I get happy too when I see keikis. However, you do have to realize some orchid types takes a couple of years. I'm talking about multiple, plural, a couple years before you will even see any bloom, because it takes time for a keiki, a young orchid plant, to become mature, to then bloom, to be able to bloom. So it's not like once you get an extra plant as a keiki and then you're gonna see bloom the next year. Some of you didn't know and asked me, and I was like, yeah, I get happy, but after maybe 30 seconds, that excitement wears off, and then I quickly think about the return on investment, because sometimes things can go wrong and they may die young. So if you have the patience and if you know what you're doing, keiki can eventually become mature and bloom for you. But sometimes it doesn't turn out that way. So just kind of want to point that out in case you're new to this hobby and you're seeing keikis and you're thrilled and then you're excited, but then you don't have the patience for it. Just prepare yourself. Now back to this orchid. This orchid currently receives 1/4 cup of water, and this 1/4 cup of water is already containing the water-soluble fertilizer. And the fertilizer dosage is also 25%, so 1/4 strength only, because I provide fertilizer in water as a solution, as part of the solution on a weekly basis, every week, except the last watering cycle of each month. I would only use pure water, just water, nothing else, to soak this orchid so that I can have an opportunity to dissolve and remove any excess salt buildup from the unused fertilizer. And so far, this orchid has been responding very well to this regimen, and I haven't done anything extra. The only thing extra that I keep an eye out for this orchid is if it continues to grow more roots around the base, and then become area roots, then I would really keep an eye on. And when it's just long enough, I would try to train it so that it would then grow into the medium, into the cup. At some point, once the roots are all big and have enough, it will continue to grow, and the plastic cup sometimes will get too small, or sometimes even rip on the side. I've already had a couple orchids doing that. As they grow into the container and grow larger, it expands, and then the plastic cup just couldn't hold it anymore. And over time, plastic does also degrade, especially nowadays. A lot of the plastic cup that I use are actually biodegradable plastic cups. They're not actually not plastic. They're like made of cornstarch or something, so it's more environmental friendly. So over time, they do become weaker. So at that point, I will have to repot this orchid. Otherwise, it's really on autopilot. Good orchid roots in organic media, so it doesn't break down, unlike bark chips or sphagnum moss. So I really just have, it's in autopilot. I don't have to do much. And here is the video clip of the orchid in full bloom. All 5 flowers opened. And lots of roots on top, but a lot of those I have trained to push, for it to grow into the container, so that's good. There's one root growing out of the drainage hole at the bottom, which is fine. Sometimes when repotting an orchid like this, a root coming out, sometimes you can still save it. But look at this one though, it's already thicker, larger than the drainage hole, so I may have to lose that section, which is alright, because this orchid, if it still has enough roots, losing that one chunk will not hurt the orchid, in case you wonder. And I have done it. I have actually lost a couple inches of roots growing outside of the drainage hole, and after the repot, the orchid didn't even show any signs of stress. So I know white orchid is very common, and this one I don't even know the name of it, but when it blooms, it just has that very clean, classic, serene look to it. I have actually put this orchid on my dining table, move it to my living room. It's just a great decoration. I know why Phalaenopsis are so common, but then they're so classic that I can never argue with an orchid with blooms like this. This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video. Ciao!